Hello everyone. In the first lecture of this Dynamic Programming on Trees course, I will introduce the concept of DP on trees by first stating the general way to approach a DP on trees problem and then coming up with the logic to solve this CSES problem. So DP on trees, as the name suggests, has two components. The first component is DP, which is dynamic programming, and the second component is trees, which is basically going to be the data structure on which our dynamic programming will operate. So to understand this lecture and the remaining course, you must have some basic knowledge of what DP is and what trees are. DP consists of two parts, the base case and the recurrence. And a tree is a graph with n nodes. In this example, n is 6 and n minus 1 edges, so 5 edges, such that every node can reach every other node, or the number of connected components is 1. So this is the basic prerequisite which you should have. You should know what DP is and what trees are. And now let's look at the general approach to solve any DP on trees problem. So if I have to describe DP on trees in two simple lines or in two simple points, I would say that the general or basic idea behind every DP on trees problem is that we store some information for each node in the tree, and we compute this information for the current node by combining the information for its children. So usually this is implemented in a DFS form, because we know that in a DFS we first visit the children of the current node, and after we visit the children of the current node, we basically come back to the current node, and then we will combine the answer for its children to compute the current information. So this concept is best explained with an example. So let's take the example of this problem, which is called subordinates. In this problem, what we actually need to do is, for each node, we need to find the number of its subordinates. And a subordinate is basically a node in its subtree. So we need to find the subtree size for each node. So our DP state, or the information which we will store for each node, is basically the subtree size. So we know that we are storing the subtree size for each node. So for node 4, we know that the subtree size is just 1, because there is only one node in the subtree of node 4. Similarly, for node 5, the subtree size is just 1, and for node 6, the subtree size is just 1. Now when we are computing the information or the subtree size for node 3, we will combine the answer for its children, and that will basically be 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 3. And you can see that there are 3 nodes, or in this case it will be 4, because you need to count 3 as well. So there will be 4 nodes in the subtree of 3. And similarly, you can see that the subtree size of 2 is 1, and the subtree size of 1 is 6. So in this problem, our DP state is just the subtree size of each node. That's step 1. And step 2 was computing the information for the current node. So for node 3, let's say, by combining the information for its children. So we combine the information for nodes 4, 5 and 6 to get that the subtree size of 3 is 4. So now, writing this down in DP terminology, we can say that part 1, the base case for the DP value. The base case is simple to see. The DP value, or in this case the subtree size, so let's say sub size represents the subtree size. So we know that the subtree size for 4 is just 1, and the subtree size for 5 is also just 1, and the subtree size for 6 is also just 1, and the subtree size for 2 is also just 1. And why is this the case? This is the case because 4, 5 and 6 are the leaf nodes. So in general, we can say that the base case is just the subtree size for the leaf node is 1. And that's all that's there in our base case. For the recursive case, or for the recurrence, we need to understand that if we are at some node, let's say U, and we know that U's children are V1, V2, V3, and let's just consider it has 3 children so far, then we can easily figure out that the subtree size for U is just equal to the subtree size for V1 plus the subtree size for V2 plus the subtree size for V3 and plus 1. Now to understand why this works, let's consider the example of 3. We know that 3's children are 4, 5 and 6, and when we add the subtree sizes for 4, 5 and 6, we get 3, and 3 actually represents the subtree size for everything which is below the node 3. And since we have accumulated all those subtree sizes, or we found out the number of subordinates below 3, we know that the total number of subordinates for 3 is all the subordinates below 3 plus the node 3 itself. So that's why we need to add the DP values for each of its children and add 1 to the result. So generalizing this further, we know that if you had k children, then we would just have to add the subtree sizes for these k children, and we would need to add 1. And that's because if you consider the node 1, then you know that node 1 has only 2 children, 3 and 2, and you can easily figure out that the subtree size for node 1 is just 4 plus 1, which is 5, plus 1, which is 6. And that basically concludes the logic behind the DP state, which is the base case and the recurrence. And now we know that the final answer will just be the subtree sizes for each of these nodes. For example, if we draw the tree connected to the sample test case given over here, we see that the number of subordinates or the subtree size for 5 is 1. The subtree size for 4 is 1 because they are the leaf nodes. Then the subtree size for 3 is 2, which is 1 plus the subtree size for 5. And similarly, the subtree size for 2 and 1 are 2 and 5 respectively. However, note that we just need to print the subtree size minus 1 because they are actually asking us for the number of subordinates. So the final answer is just the subtree sizes for each node minus 1. So basically what we basically need to do in the end after we found the subtree sizes is print the subtree size of I minus 1 for all I belonging to 1 to n, and that basically solves the whole problem. However, let's look at a more generalized approach to see how we can approach any DP on trees problem, not just this simple example of computing the subtree sizes. So the 4 steps which you need to take in order to solve a tree DP problem is, first you need to find out what info you need to compute for each node. This info which you will compute is actually the DP values. And how do you find out what info, what DP state you need to keep? That will actually vary from problem to problem, and it also depends on the observations which you make in the problem and what the problem is asking you. So in this problem, they just ask you to find the subtree sizes minus 1. And that's why we just need to store the subtree size for each node. So that's the first step, which is the hardest step in any DP problem, not just DP on trees. The second step is to root the tree at node 1. So notice that in all the diagrams, the tree is rooted at node 1, and that's because we need to root the tree to actually define what a child is and what the base cases and the recursive cases are. So rooting the tree is a very important second step in the TDT problems. The third step is to find the base cases. Now the base cases can also vary for problem to problem, but in general what you will find out is that the base case is usually of the form dp of leaf is equal to something. Now that something was 0 or was 1 for our problem, but in different problems it can vary a lot. So you should generally try to solve the base cases on paper because they are usually easy cases, and the base cases will usually be something like dp of leaf is something. Now the recursive case can also be a bit challenging to find out, but again we can easily predict what it usually looks like. The dp of each node will usually be something like a summation of dp of v for all children of v. So v belongs to the child of v or the children of u. V is the children of u. And the key thing is that it need not always be a summation. It can also be a summation plus 1, or it can be a summation minus some other value or something. And again, this will vary from problem to problem. So the only way in which you can figure out the base case, the recurrence, and the DP values is by solving more problems. And that's what this course will teach you how to do. And now one last important step, which is step 5, is after we have found the general idea. So steps 1 to 4 were the steps to be taken to get the answer on paper, or basically get the logic clear. But step 5 is the implementation, and I'll be sharing all the implementation details in the next video. I'll show you the stepwise analysis of how we'll exactly implement a 3DP problem. So steps 1 through 4 are how you will think about a 3DP problem and how you'll go about approaching it. Step 5 is the implementation, which is also very important, and the implementation is done using DFS. So do join me in the next video where I'll show you how each code segment in the DFS can be adapted to compute the information for each node in the 3DP problem. So thank you for your time.